Well, hey, good morning, guys. It's Sunday morning, so we're going to talk a little more about the book of Luke. Look at my face. You can see I'm getting these. I have to stop wearing sunglasses when I'm outside. I'm starting to look like a raccoon or a fishing guide, which I am neither. So, we're in the book of Luke. We're going to talk a little more about Zechariah and his bride, and then we're going to talk a little bit about another lady who has. Excuse me while I fiddle with my camera here. All right, so we're going to talk about another lady who has a miraculous birth. So I bet you can guess who that might be, though, if you know anything about the book of Luke. But I think the point of what I want to talk about today's message is maybe God's timing in things. And, well, let me just read it to you and we can talk about that, okay? I'll read to you from Luke here where we left off. When his time of service was completed, he returned home. After this, his wife Elizabeth became pregnant and for 5 months remained in seclusion. "The Lord had done this for me," she said. "In these days he has shown his favor and taken away my disgrace among the people." In the 6th month, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, "Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Isn't that interesting? Well, maybe we should look at tearing this apart a little bit, huh? If you remember, let's go back a little bit, okay? We got Zechariah, who's in the temple. He has lit the incense and he prayed, right? When he is in the temple and opens his eyes, he sees an angel there. And this angel happens to be Gabriel. He introduces himself. "Hello, my name is Gabriel." And it's at this time Gabriel delivers him the news that God has answered his prayers and his wife Elizabeth is pregnant. But Zechariah doesn't believe it or has a doubting heart, so for some reason he is rendered mute. And he has to come out of the temple. Now this takes a bit of time, remember? If you remember, this took a little longer than they were used to. And he comes out of the temple unable to speak after a considerable amount of time inside. And he tries to describe what happened using his hands because he's unable to speak. Well, here we are now. He's left his service, his time to serve. I keep wanting to say serve communion, but to serve his community in this way is over. And now they're back home, and him and his wife become pregnant. All right? And it's a miraculous pregnant, isn't it? Because God is involved with it. And I guess you could say, in a way, all pregnancies are miraculous. And all life is valued because of that, right? Because God is involved, it makes every one of our pregnancies important. So, Elizabeth, takes this as a blessing from God. And she hides herself. And she hides herself for 5 months, which I think that date is curious to me. I haven't found an answer to why 5 months, but she hid herself for 5 months. And I don't think it was because she was ashamed. In fact, she even says that God has shown his favor and taken away my disgrace among the people. I think perhaps it had something to do with just getting away, her and God, and just taking that time to pray and be thankful and honoring God after many, many years. She got it. Elizabeth got it, perhaps, where Zechariah didn't quite get it initially. So she just took the time to pray and thank God and really just focus on him. You know, people do that even today. They'll take sabbaticals, they'll fast, and just really take a time in their life. It's a season of their life. There's an adulty sermon, churchy type word, and there's a season of life where they just get away and focus on God. And that's a bit of what this has been for me. This time of seclusion away from you guys has been more of an ability to just really focus on God and kind of get dialed in a bit. So it happens. It happens today. So she hid herself for 5 months. And then after that, yeah, it was during that time, because it's in the 6th month here, it says, God sent Gabriel again, right? Gabriel's been really busy here in this past 6 months. So those are just the 2 times we know about. But Gabriel's been like, oh, here I go again, pack my bags, I'm headed down to earth. And so Gabriel goes and visits another lady named Mary. And I think we know who Mary is. Most of us know who Mary is. And he speaks with her and goes to the city of Galilee in Nazareth, and where a virgin named Mary is betrothed to be married to a man named Joseph. And there's a little bit I want to dissect on that. And the Jewish ceremony of engagement, betrothal, and marriage was very formal. The engagement period, actually, Mary and Joseph may not know anything about the engagement period itself. You know, today, when we do it, the guy goes and buys a ring, right? Every time I start to tell this story, this reminds me of our engagement, mine and Tanya's, right? So she knows I'm going to ask her to get married. She doesn't know when this is going to happen. So Tanya, being Tanya, is a planner. So she knows a couple that just got engaged, and he got a really good price on a ring at this jewelry store somewhere in Burnsville. And I might be messing that up, but you get the point. Somewhere in Burnsville. Now, this is back before smartphones, all right? This is a long, long time ago. Dinosaurs still roamed the earth. And she sends me to go get, if I'm going to get an engagement ring, I should get it here because I got a really good price. Okay. I'm not sure I'm going to get an engagement ring, right? So I get in the car and I drive to this location before I'm going to go visit Tanya up in Maple Grove. So I stopped by here, and I couldn't remember the name of the place. I listened to her, but I didn't listen to her carefully. So I didn't catch the name of the place. So I stop in the location and I hop into a hotel, and I said, could I borrow your phone book? This is back before I could Google search anything. She goes, sure. Here, what do you need? I said, well, I'm looking for a place to buy jewelry or a diamond ring, and I can't remember the name of the place. So I look up jewelry and go down, boom, up, first place that pops up, bam, it's got to be it. It's the right location, right town. I go in there, and it's in like a 3-story building, and it looks more like a commercial, you know, like a, I don't know, like the commercial location, or it just doesn't look like we're a jewelry store. You know, a jewelry store's got windows on it, maybe located in a mall. It's got Zales or something written across the front. Well, anyhow, I go in there, and I get into a room, and the door locks behind me, and I can't open it, and I can't open the door in front of me. I'm like, what did I just get into here? And I look into a camera because I hear a voice come from this camera. So I look up at the camera, and he says, what do you need? And I said, well, I'm here to get a diamond ring. He goes, well, who sent you? Who sent me? Tanya Pearson sent me. That's who sent me, brother. So he goes, well, do you know the name of her friend? And I said, well, I don't remember her name. And after this goes on a few more times, I said, I really can't remember her name. They just got engaged. Her boyfriend or fiance bought his diamond ring here. He finally lets me in, okay? So I go in there, and what I'm in is a place that imports diamonds from all over the world, from Africa, and then private diamonds from private sellers. So I'm in the wrong place. But I sit down with this guy, and he starts showing me diamonds. And we develop a rapport after a while, and he takes me into a vault where we sit down. He starts to show me diamonds, and I'm not kidding you, about the size of my fist. And I said, well, my budget is a little smaller than this. You should know that I had to sell my Jeep to buy this diamond, and I bought a Pontiac. I'll never own a Pontiac again, but I'm glad I bought that diamond. So I buy this diamond, right? And to avoid, I probably shouldn't even record this, but to avoid the taxes of Minnesota, he mailed it to my mom, right? In South Dakota. And this is the weird part. I wasn't even sure. I hadn't seen the diamond. Spent, I don't know, almost maybe $2,000 on it, on the diamond, and mailed it to her and never even saw it. So now we're like, I start thinking to myself after I leave, did I just get swindled? I leave here. I spent, I think it was like $1,900. I don't even have a diamond. He says he's going to mail it to my mom, and I walk out with nothing. I just feel like I got had, but anyhow, that was our engagement process. We got engaged. She has a real diamond. I had it appraised afterwards just to make sure I didn't get swindled, and it all turned out good. So Tanya was horrified to hear I went to the wrong place, but she loves to tell the story now because it just typifies me. I have another story about our first date where I didn't listen to her very well. So I think you're starting to see a pattern, right? But anyhow, I digress. Let's get back on topic here. In the Jewish society, you could get engaged and not even know it, okay, as a bride or groom. And it was during the betrothal period where you're still sort of engaged, but it's more now. Now this is a formal agreement. You have to be divorced to undo a betrothal, but you still cannot have sex together. So you still have to be virgins, but the divorce decree is still needed, and I think that's when livestock or the exchange of whatever the bride's price was, that was already exchanged at this point. And this went on for about a year. The betrothal period went on for about a year, and then the marriage would take place about a year later. But the cool part was, and I kind of like this part of it, this was the exciting part, if you want to call it exciting for the bride, is she didn't know the exact date the bridegroom would come. And he would just come at an unexpected time for his bride. I kind of like that part. I like that kind of spontaneous part of it. That's sort of our engagement period where, you know, your girlfriend at the time doesn't know when you're going to pop the question, and you take her out for dinner or up to Canal Park or whatever it is, and you pop the question, and it's kind of unexpected, but not totally unexpected. So I like that spontaneous part of it. I think that's kind of whimsical and neat. But again, during the betrothal period, the obligations of marriage fell into place. They had to be faithful, and it took a divorce, and you had to remain a virgin. So, and that's important in this story because Mary was a virgin when she became pregnant with Jesus, and she was even a virgin afterwards. So, but the neat part was they share some similarities here. These stories do, and this is kind of the point of the sermon today. These stories share similarity. It was God's timing was impeccable. It was very, very important that God's timing be in place, which is why Zechariah and Elizabeth couldn't have a baby to begin with, you know. It was under God's timing. And if we go way back to the book of, where are we at here? It's in Exodus, I believe, I think it's Genesis. We're in Genesis where we talk about Abraham and how they couldn't have a baby. And remember we talked about her being barren, and we don't really want to say that, but they couldn't have a baby for years. And it was under God's timing that Abraham and Sarah finally were able to conceive Isaac, right? They were told to name him Isaac. And in fact, if you remember, Abraham and Sarah even laughed. It was so it was so unreal that they were going to become pregnant at this time in their life that they both kind of laughed and chuckled about it. And then if we go to Isaac, Isaac prayed to the Lord because his wife was barren, and it was under God's timing that they're allowed to have a child. And you know, God's timing is perfect. And if we look at, you know, I've told this story, I tell this story every summer, and maybe that's why I feel compelled to tell it again, is if we look at Gideon, the Midianites, and how Gideon starts off with, I think it's 22,000 men, or he had 32,000 men to begin with, and God comes to him and he says, look, Gideon, you have too many men, and Israel will never believe that it was me that helped you out of this. You need to send the men home, offer them the chance to go home if they're scared. And 22,000 men left that night. They just leave their arms there on the ground, and away they go. And now he's down to like 10,000 people. And God says, Gideon, you still have too many men. Nobody's going to believe that the God of Israel did this. They're going to believe that Israel did this under her own power, and you need to cull the herd again, so to speak. So he says to Gideon, he says, I want you to take the men down to the river, and I want you to have them get something to drink, and I'll sift them in again. So when he gets down there, there's going to be two type of men. He said the type that kneel down to drink, and he said there's going to be a type that lap the water up like a dog. So you think to yourself at this moment, this is when you know God has a bit of a sense of humor. You would think that it's going to be the guys that kneel down that you're going to keep. You're going to send the guys that drink like a dog home. Because I mean, who, if you had to drink like from the faucet or from the wellhead outside or the garden hose, forbid. You know, people think drinking from the garden hose is weird, but if you had to think about it, you think you would just take the men that would kneel down and sip the water out, right? But God said, no. I want you to keep the guys that drink like a dog. I just think that's hilarious. And then God uses those men, and I think he ends up with about 300, and they battle these armies that are vast. They just fill a valley. They're outnumbered hundreds to one, and God does it his way and through his timing and through his power. He leads Gideon to victory. So if you're in a point in your life, I guess the point of all of this is, if you're at a point in your life and you're praying to God about something, about a boyfriend, about a girlfriend, about grades, about summer, about whatever it is, something you're wanting or needing, or about your family life, maybe something at home isn't going well, maybe your parents are on you hard, whatever the case is, if you're praying about something, it's in God's timing. And that can seem like a cop-out, can it, when an adult says that or when a pastor says that. It's God's timing. But it's all over in the Bible, you guys. It's under God's timing. But stay faithful in prayer. Keep praying for it. Because when you petition and pray for yourself, God hears those prayers, okay? They don't fall on deaf ears. God is an active God in our world. He's with us daily. He's never going to forsake or leave us, right? So keep it up. Stay faithful in prayer. If it's something you're needing desperately, contact one of us. Contact myself or Pastor Chris. Contact Tanya and let us know your prayers so we can pray with you. We can be with you in prayer. It's also nice to be able to celebrate with you when we see those prayers answered, right? So stay faithful, my friends. Everything happens under God's timing. In the meantime, enjoy this summer. Get rid of your little raccoon eyes. Maybe sit outside on the boat today and not have sunglasses. I'm going to try that today. So we love you guys. Take care of yourselves. We can't wait to see you in person.